work ethic. But to your point, Mike Moritz, I think famously about 10 years ago I may have been in the FT or something. He just wrote a piece that said they just work harder than we do, like flat out. And there's an interesting notion in that in many fields, even Americans admit that work ethic is valuable, especially when you look at the arts. For some reason, like it's perfectly okay for the figure skater to toil, right? To work hard. Kobe Bryant works really hard, and we're so fascinated. A cellist in the symphony, if they told you, oh, they studied 100 hours a week, you'd be, wow, that's amazing. But when it comes to work, we adopt this workaholic, and oh, you can't make people do that. So I find that fascinating.
Now, do you have a guess as to why that is?
If you went back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, when we were emerging as a country and really dominating the world in terms of industrial and exporting, I think a lot of people would have viewed almost any occupation just like the figure skater. But I think we've kind of moved past that in a way, and there's just more talk of victimization and remember what is it JFK said? That's not what you can do, what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That sounds very foreign right now, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So my take on this is everybody's stuck in a frame of reference. We can't interface with the world the way that it really is. So we begin to tell ourselves a story about that. When the culture tells you a story that the harder you work, the better your life is going to be, and that gets reflected back to you in real results, like what you were saying in China. And most people just are so ignorant to Chinese history, they don't realize in the 60s, you had people starving to death in China, in the tens of millions.
Right.
And so this is for them, this is a very recent memory. So to watch 400 to 500 million people get pulled out of poverty because you inject this notion of the free market, the harder you work, the smarter you are, the better you perform, that idea of skills have utility. Like that's going to be the realest thing in the world. And you remember what it was like when it was hard. We've now raised 3 or 4 generations that just think success is the way that it is, and that the government just needs to tax more and everything's going to be great.